Hello my dear students. On 16 July 2020 we had started the second part from the chapter the cell, and the topic that we studied was cell organelles. The topics that we dealt in detail were: number 1, introduction to cell organelles and their functions; number 2, cell membrane; number 3, cell wall; number 4, cytoplasm; number 5, nucleus; number 6, nuclear membrane; number 7, nucleoplasm; number 8, nucleoli; number 9, vacuoles; number 10, plastids; number 11, endoplasmic reticulum; number 12, ribosomes; number 13, Golgi bodies; number 14, mitochondria; and number 15, centrosomes; and lastly, lysosomes. And according to the syllabus, these are the important ones: cell membrane, cell wall, cytoplasm, nucleus, plastids, and vacuoles. However, I would like to suggest that you should also know what a mitochondria is, what a lysosome is, and what are ribosomes also. Alright. So before we begin, you should be clear with what cell organelles are. So here I have taken an example of an animal cell. So in the picture you can see that there is a green outline, and that green outline is representing cell membrane, and interior to that green outline you can see that there is a compartment which is yellow in color, isn't it? Light yellow in color, and that is cytoplasm. And inside that cytoplasm you can see so many numerous structures, and all these structures are cell organelles. For example, the pink structure is labeled as endoplasmic reticulum. In the center of the animal cell you can see that they have labeled it as the outer one as nucleus, and in the center of nucleus as, which is green in color, as nucleolus. And in light blue they have represented it as Golgi bodies, dark blue vacuole, lysosome somewhat light brown in color, likewise small dotted structures as ribosomes. So now you know that the cell organelles are generally present inside the cell, whether it is an animal cell or plant cell. So let's proceed with it. So number 1, cell membrane. What is a cell membrane? So all the organelles of a cell, like cytoplasm is also considered as a cell organelle, and nucleus, they are enclosed with a membrane, that is the outer covering, called as cell membrane. Cell membrane is also called as plasma membrane, and it will separate the cell from its surroundings and also from one cell from the other cell. It is a thin, flexible, and selectively permeable membrane. So this word selectively permeable membrane is important because cell membrane will select what substances has to enter inside a cell through cell membrane, or what substances has to move out of the cell through cell membrane. So the function, the most important one, is it helps to regulate the entry and exit of substances in the cell. Number 2, cell wall. It is made up of a material called as cellulose, and it also helps to maintain the shape of a cell. It is found only in plant cells. It is not found in animal cells. It forms the outermost layer in plant cells. So if I ask you which is the outermost layer in plant cells, your answer should be cell wall, and which is the outermost layer in animal cell, your answer should be cell membrane. So cell wall is completely permeable, means it does not restrict any substances to enter and leave. So it can allow all type of substances to enter through cell wall by a process called diffusion. So the function, it provides protection, it maintains the shape of the plant cells. Number 3, what is cytoplasm? It is a jelly-like semi-solid substance and its composition will be made up of salts, water and organic molecules. All the vital, that is important life functions takes place in the cytoplasm, which is important for the organism to survive or live. So the most important function of cytoplasm is to hold the cell organelles in the cell in its position. Coming to nucleus, nucleus is called as the brain of the cell, just like CPU is the brain of the computer. We also have a brain which controls all the activities of our body. Likewise, with respect to the cell, nucleus will control all the activities of a cell. Hence, it is known as brain of the cell. It is an important component of the cell. That means nucleus is one of the most important structure inside the cell. It is spherical in shape and situated in the center of the cell. So if I give you plant or animal cell and tell you to locate nucleus, the easiest way is to look in the center of the cell. You will find nucleus, not exactly in the center, but somewhat in the center of the cell. It has several parts, that is number 1 nuclear membrane, number B nucleoplasm, and number C nucleoli. The covering of the nucleus is called as nuclear membrane, and the liquid that is present inside the nucleus will be called as nucleoplasm. All right. Then nucleoli, these are small spherical bodies which is present inside the nucleus, and the function of nucleus is to act as a control center for all the activities of the cell. In short, it means that they control all the activities of the cell. Coming to nuclear membrane, I told you that there is a covering outside the nucleus which is separated from cytoplasm, and that structure will be called as nuclear membrane. And its function, it allows the movement of materials between the cytoplasm and the nucleus, meaning if any substances has to come out from the nucleus into the cytoplasm, then it has to pass through the membrane of nucleus, which is called as nuclear membrane. Coming to nucleoplasm, it is a dense liquid which is surrounded by the nuclear membrane. So the liquid that is present inside the nucleus will be called as nucleoplasm, and it is kept in the position by an outer covering of the nucleus called as nuclear membrane. Nucleoplasm will consist of thread-like structures called as chromatin fibers, and when the cell divides, this thread-like structure will then change into rod-like structures called as chromosomes. And it is very important to know that chromosomes will carry genes, and these genes will help in transmission of characters from parents to offsprings. That means 50% of the genes you have received from your father and 50% you have received from your mother. This is the reason why half of the characters resembles to your mother and half of your character resembles to your father. Coming to nucleoli, these are small spherical bodies in the center of the nucleus, I told you. Then its function, it will contain the blueprint of the protein to be synthesized. Blueprint means what? It carries the information that has to be executed by the cell to produce what? Proteins. Just like an architect will design the blueprint for a building, and that blueprint will be executed by the contractors to make the building. Likewise, vacuoles. So what are vacuoles? These are membrane-bound hollow storage sacs that are found in cytoplasm. So in simple words, I can tell that these are structures that are present in the cytoplasm, and it contains a liquid. That liquid is called as the cell sap, and the cell sap will be made up of water, minerals, sugars and amino acids. The membrane that covers the vacuole will be called as tonoplast. So I told you the covering of the animal cell is called as the cell membrane, and there are two coverings in case of plant cell. The outer one is the cell wall, and interior to cell wall lies cell membrane. Plant cells can have 2 or more large vacuoles. If I tell you to identify plant and animal cell based on vacuoles, it's very easy to identify. Plant cells will have more than one vacuoles, and the size of the vacuole in plants will be bigger as compared to animal cells. Animal cells will have only one vacuole and it will be smaller in size. What is the function of vacuole then? It will help to maintain the shape of the cell. Its main function is to store food, water, and other substances. Coming to plastids, very important. These are cell organelles which are found only in plant cells. They are covered by a double membrane structures and they contain colored pigments, meaning coloring substances. Plastids can be oval or spherical in shape, and they can be classified or they can be divided into 3 types based on the coloring substance called as pigments that they contain. That is number 1, chloroplast, number B, chromoplast, and number C, leucoplast. The functions of each of these plastids we'll study in detail in the next slide. Types of plastids. So number 1 is chloroplast. So chloroplast is a cell organelle that is double layered in structure and will be divided into 2 regions called as grana and stroma. What does chloroplast contain then? It contains a green pigment called chlorophyll. Chloroplasts, they are found where? They will be found in the leaves of the plants. And function, the function of chloroplast in overall is to help in the preparation of food during photosynthesis. And the function of chlorophyll is to just capture or trap the sunlight during the process of photosynthesis so that the food can be synthesized. Chlorophyll, where it is located then? If I ask you, locate the presence of chlorophyll inside the chloroplast, then you have to answer it as grana. Now chromoplast. Chromoplast means these are cell organelles found in the petals of fruits and flowers. Sorry, it has to be petals of flowers and fruits. These are colored plastids and they contain pigments of different colors, which means chromoplast will contain coloring substances like red color, yellow color, orange color. This is the reason why the petals will be brightly colored and the fruits are also colored. The function, they play an important role in the process of seed dispersal and pollination. You know what is seed dispersal? If you have a handful of seeds in your hand and you throw it in the field, then the seeds will land at different locations in the field, and that mechanism is called as seed dispersal. And you know what is pollination? It is the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the same flower, or it can be flower of different plant, isn't it? Coming to leucoplasts. So what are leucoplasts? They are colorless plastids, which means they do not contain any pigments. So where are they found? They are found in the storage organs of the plants like the roots. Function, they store fat, starch and proteins. Coming to some other cell organelles. Number 1 is endoplasmic reticulum. It is a network of folded double membrane like channels. Do not go into the details, but however, you need to know the function of endoplasmic reticulum. So it will provide a supportive framework to the cell. Just like bones in our body provides supportive framework to our body, endoplasmic reticulum will also provide supportive framework to the cell. Likewise, centrosomes, these are found only in animal cells and they do not have a covering. They have cylindrical bodies called as centrioles. The function, again, it provides supportive framework to the cell. Ribosomes, these are also called as protein factories of the cell, meaning what? They serve as the cell organelle for the production of proteins. They lack membrane and its function is to help in the protein synthesis. I told you protein synthesis means formation of proteins. Golgi bodies, these are flattened membrane bound fluid like structures. Function, they play an important role in the secretion, which means production of hormones and enzymes. Mitochondria, they are the powerhouse of the cell because the cell needs energy and the energy is provided by the mitochondria. So what is the main function? So they help in cellular respiration, which means it helps the cell to respire. Lysosomes, these are also called as suicide bags of the cells or suicidal bags of the cell. Why? Because they contain some enzymes and these will help in the removal of dead cells. And when the liquids come out of this lysosome to destroy the dead cells, in turn the lysosomes will also get killed. That is why they are called as suicidal bags of the cell. I told you the cell organelles which are important are: number 1, cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus, plastids, mitochondria, and lysosomes. The assignments: number 1, choose the correct option. Number 2, fill up. Note, question number 1 and 2 will be required to be done in the textbook itself using pencil, and please don't use pen. And the question number 1 and 2 is mentioned in page number 41 of your textbook. And the questions like: what is a cell, who discovered the cell, define unicellular and multicellular organisms, give any 2 examples for each, name the green color pigment present in plants, name the cell organelle which is also called as the powerhouse of the cell, name the cell organelles which is also called as the suicide bag of the cell. Needs to be done in the same exercise copy where you have done the question answers from the same chapter previously. Thank you and have a nice day, and I urge you to stay safe and stay at home.